Beautiful sunset in Wisconsin tonight. I'm out wasting gas, trying to get shit off my mind. It's February 20th, 2024. For those that you don't follow me religiously or at all. Today is 7 years since Bryant accidentally shot his best friend Andrew and he perished. God rest his soul. And the state of Wisconsin gave my son 20 years in a maximum security prison for an accident. And because he took a plea, the facts are still not have ever come out. The fact that Andrew brought a fifth of Jack Daniels to get my minor son drunk. The fact that he waited outside my ex-wife's house until she left so he could sneak in. The fact that at autopsy that he had a bag of weed hanging out his pocket so he could get my son drugged up and play with the gun in the first place. And then the fact that he took the gun out of the drawer while Bryant was out of the room. So these are all things that were conveniently covered up by what can only be termed a corrupt plea deal, which is what they do. So anyway, I'm not going to do anger today. I'm just cruising along doing anger. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Have any of you ever heard of a case, and I know I posted something about this the other day, where minors, alcohol, and a fatality were combined, and the district attorney and the police did not bother to try to find out who sold Andrew a fifth of Jack Daniels? To this day, I am just blown away. So, the gun owner got away with it. God rest his soul. He later passed away of COVID. And the person who supplied the alcohol to the minors got away with it because they were too busy trying to screw my kid in retaliation for all the complaints I had filed against them 18 months previously. But we won't delve into that tonight. Although I should. So anyway, I had a visit with him today. Like I said, today's 7 years, and I'm sure he hit it well, but I'm sure he's not doing well with it. So there he is, young man. He's been in there, for those of you that don't know, because like I said, I'm going to spread this around. He's been there now 7 years, his whole entire adult life. He was 18 and a few months old. Well, 6 months old. He's never even driven a car, other than when I tried to show him how to drive in a parking lot. Never had a girlfriend. His whole life has been stolen away by corrupt officials. And by the way, he has an IQ of 78. He's developmentally disabled. So for you Wisconsin politicians that I share this with, you have a developmentally disabled young man rotting in a maximum security prison given 35 years. His cellmate right now, or the one previous, shot a man in Milwaukee 5 times, shot him in the chest 5 times. Got charged with first-degree murder, pled it down to second-degree murder, and got 11 years. Now, let me reiterate this. Bryant's case has already been all the way to the Supreme Court. You guys can look it up. It's public record. The Supreme Court denied to hear his case. Why, I don't know. Because even Dr. Pflugrad, her name is Dr. Pflugrad, it's in the papers, told the courts that Bryant had no clue about the documents and the court procedures that they were presenting him. He had an IQ of 78. He accidentally killed his best friend. No, that's fine in Wisconsin. So anyway, I know this is a lot of venting, but I don't care because it's got to happen. It's just got to happen. I mean, he's been in 7 years. I even wrote the governor's office a letter showing comparable cases. Not one case in Wisconsin of an accidental shooting has ever gotten more than 6 years. And he's already done 7. And then has 15 paroles so that the Brown County scumbags can always put him right back in if he so much as steps out of, a seatbelt ticket. I'm going to try not to go too deeply into how corrupt this plea deal was for you politicians. I know you're in love with your system, but you have a young man, like I said earlier, who was only partially responsible for this thing. And anyway, I'm not going to delve into it anymore because, some of you politicians, I've already contacted your offices. Nobody's done nothing. So, nobody will do nothing about any of it. The corruption, all of it. It's a damn shame. It is. It's a shame. State is so corrupt. You guys need to get rid of immunity for public officials. I'm going to tell you, it's just ridiculous that you give people immunity so that they can be friggin' crooks. Because that's all you're doing. You're not protecting the city from lawsuits. Well, you are. Anyway. Good grief. This has got to stop. I need my kid home. 7 years. 7 years. He's never even driven a car. I want to know who sold him alcohol. Don't you? No, you don't. See, the problem here is, everyone, the problem here is Wisconsin has to protect themselves from scumbag officials, always. People in power are scumbags. And I'm going to lean heavily on the district attorney's office because there's more felonies or more felons work in Brown County's district attorney office than live at the prison 4 miles away. I'm telling you, every one of them has no problem committing a fucking felony. Excuse my language. I've been doing pretty good until now. Not a one of them people in that office has not committed a felony. That's their modus, operandi. That's what happens. That's how we get cases. We change statements. We alter shit. This is what we do. Thanks for the immunity. So anyway, back to the child. It's ironic because I've started to tell you his IQ is 78. And he was still a junior in high school. Barely. And one thing about the plea that never came out is Brown County themselves are the ones that placed him at my ex-wife's house with the gun. Because, we got to cover that up. Because that was the corruption that I put the original complaints in for. Oh my God, these people. I swear, remember the old saying, if they can do it to him, they can do it to you. Well, they did it to us before they did it to him. I mean, it's okay for Brown County District Attorney, elected District Attorney, to alter court documents. After I filed complaints against a police officer, it's okay for him to alter court documents and to cover up for the fact that police committed felonies by going on NCIC and saying I tried to shoot a police officer. It's all documented. You can go look it up. Any of you politicians, if you'd like to hear about this sometime, hit me up. Where an Ashwaubenon, a mentally ill Ashwaubenon police officer framed my kid. The complainant was the daughter of a clerk of courts. So instead of exposing her because her husband made a false statement, they imprisoned my child. They told him, they threatened him with Lincoln Hills for 2 years. He knew he couldn't get a fair trial, so he took a plea deal. See, they have experience in this. So he took a plea deal, and he pled no contest because he didn't want to say he did it because he didn't. So when I filed complaints, this officer his superiors blew off the complaint. So I got upset, being an American, trying to protect his child. And I exposed the trash for what they are. I went on YouTube and I was making videos exposing the documents that they had altered in his court case, the original one. That's a felony. 946.12 Wisconsin statute. It's a felony to alter court documents. They had committed so many felonies against my family. It is sick. If you ever want to hear about it, I'll be more than happy to share it with you. So anyway, this mentally ill police officer, when they found out I was making videos of him, they went on my Facebook and said I was threatening an officer on a Facebook post. Now, mind you, I was in Missouri, so they filed charges against me and a warrant for my arrest for threatening an officer on a Facebook post. But they didn't realize when they did it that I was in Missouri. Actually, they did, but they didn't care. Because, that's okay. They had to stop me from making YouTube videos. So I immediately knew that I was putting my mother's and my family in danger and got the hell out of Missouri as soon as I realized there was a warrant. And I headed to my original goal, which was Arizona. So this mentally ill police officer and his superiors went on the NCIC, documented, and entered aggravated deadly assault with a gun against a public official, police. So they entered on the NCIC and sent it to Arizona after they tracked me down in Arizona, mind you, with the help of my wife's ex-husband. The conspiracy to have me shot and killed is amazing. So this mentally ill police officer and his superiors went on NCIC and entered false data. And then the scumbag police officer, the original bad guy, tracked me down using my wife's ex-husband in Arizona and sent and or talked, I'm not sure, the fact that I was wanted for trying to shoot him and kill him. I was arrested in Arizona. I was held in an Arizona jail for 17 days for aggravated deadly assault with a gun. $500,000 bond. Thank you very much for your immunity for these fucking scumbags. To this day, this was in 2016. Nobody's had to answer for any of this as my kid rots in prison. So anyway, 2 years later is when the accident happened. This was in 16. My son's accident happened in 17, and the shooting happened in 17, and then the sentencing was in 18. So the same scumbags that covered up these police officers and his superiors and all of them trying to have me shot and killed by deliberately falsifying internet data on the NCIC database is the same scumbags are the ones that sentenced my kid to 35 years for an accident, and they're the ones that put him there. That's just friggin' perfect, right? I mean, come on. You can't make that up. So they sentenced him to 35 years for being with this gun and shooting his best friend when they're the ones that put him there because they destroyed his life. I have no doubt he was going to get high and drink. Not a doubt in my mind. You guys ruined his life. Thanks for the immunity. So I'm way over what I can really download very easily on YouTube, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to put this one out there because you know what? Nobody got anything. They all got away with it. Because Wisconsin doesn't want lawsuits. They can't afford to have lawsuits here. So they'll just ruin lives and destroy lives and cover up. Everybody knows what happened. Governor Evers' office knows what happened. He covered it up. I gave the documents in a flash drive, 2 copies to the Capitol Police. I should have filed a complaint. I guess that's why they didn't do anything, because I didn't file an actual complaint. So they covered it up, the Capitol Police. I went there because they have jurisdiction over the whole state. I wrote and sent to the WisconsinWatch.org has copies of all this stuff. There's literally hundreds of copies of all this, especially the document where David Lassay, the district attorney of Brown County, committed a felony, at least one, in altering documents to show that these police tried to have me shot and killed. That's perfectly acceptable in Wisconsin. Thanks for the immunity. So David Lassay committed a felony. I can tell you exactly the date of it, but nobody gives a shit. He has immunity. Nobody gives a shit because that's what we do in Wisconsin. If we have scumbag public officials, we cover up for them and let them get away with whatever crime they want. So the governor's office blew it off. Everybody blew it off and let the statute of limitations run out. So all these fucking scumbags who committed felonies against my family all got away with it. And my kid rots in prison. Thank you, Governor Evers. Thank you, Capitol Police. Thank you, Eric Wimberger, who's another fucking scumbag. Completely. I have emails to show he didn't want nothing to do with it because he worked for this trash. I didn't realize it. He worked with all this trash. Anyway, excuse my language. I thought I was going to keep this cool, but I can't. I'm so angry. These scumbags. I want my kid. How convenient that they wiped out Andrew's Facebook where he used to come and play with the gun all the time. My ex-wife's gun. Her boyfriend's, actually. God rest his soul. So anyway, I'm going to share this, and I hope y'all take the time. Be more than happy to share any document you want. I'd really love to share the 3 documents that shows David Lassay is a goddamn scumbag. He's a fucking scumbag, you guys. He's a criminal, and he's deciding people's lives. Thanks for the immunity. This is 7 years ago. How many lies have you let this disgusting, vile piece of shit? How many lives has he destroyed in that 7 years? Anyway, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.